They wanted me to smile at family dinners with the man who tried to assault me. Instead, I testified, helped expose 8 victims, and watched him get sentenced for life. I need to get this out before I lose my nerve. 6 months ago, my fiancé's older brother tried to rape me in his parents' guest bedroom. And now they want me to carve the Thanksgiving turkey like nothing happened. Let me back up. I'm 28. I've been with Owen for 4 years, engaged for 1. His family seemed normal at first. Sunday dinners, game nights, the whole picture perfect Colorado family thing. His older brother Bryce was 32, worked in pharmaceutical sales, always had some story about closing deals or traveling for work. Charismatic in that way that makes people overlook things. You know the type. Last March, Owen's parents threw a birthday party for Bryce at their house in Boulder. Typical family gathering, aunts, uncles, cousins, too much food. I'd had 2 glasses of wine over 3 hours. Not drunk. Barely buzzed. I went upstairs around 9 p.m. to grab my phone charger from the guest room where we'd left our coats. The hallway was empty, everyone else downstairs watching some basketball game. I heard the door click behind me. Bryce had followed me up. Need help finding something? He asked, already shutting the door. Locking it. The room got smaller. I'm good, just getting my charger. He moved between me and the door. You've been avoiding me all night. I hadn't been. I just didn't go out of my way to talk to him. I wasn't. You think you're better than this family. He stepped closer. Owen talks about you like you're so perfect. So untouchable. My throat tightened. I should get back downstairs. Not yet. What happened next lasted maybe 90 seconds, but it carved itself into my brain frame by frame. He grabbed my wrist. I pulled back. He shoved me toward the bed. I tried to yell and his hand clamped over my mouth, tight enough I tasted blood where my teeth cut my lip. His other hand yanked at my jeans. I fought. I'm not small. I played college soccer. But he was bigger, heavier, and had me pinned face down on that floral bedspread his mother probably picked out at Home Goods. I got my knee up. Hard. He grunted, loosened his grip for half a second. I twisted, screamed. Footsteps in the hallway. His mother's voice, Bryce? Everything okay up there? He let go. Stood up. Adjusted his shirt. I was gasping, hair in my face, jeans unbuttoned. She knocked. Bryce? He unlocked the door, opened it 2 inches. Yeah, Mom. We're fine. Just talking. I couldn't see her face, but I heard the pause. The choice she made in that silence. Dinner's being served, she said, and walked away. Bryce looked at me. Smiled. Better fix yourself before you come down. He left. I sat on that bed, shaking, trying to button my jeans with numb fingers. My lip was bleeding. My wrist had red marks. Owen found me 10 minutes later when he came looking. He took one look at my face and said, "What did he do?" I told him. Every detail. Owen believed me immediately, never questioned, never doubted. He wanted to call the police right there. His father stopped him. Let's not make this bigger than it needs to be. Bryce had too much to drink. Let's talk about this tomorrow when everyone's calmer. I wasn't calm. I was in shock. Owen drove me home. The next morning, I filed a police report. The officer was kind but honest, without witnesses to the actual physical attack, without physical evidence beyond some bruises that could have come from anywhere. It was my word against Bryce's. Insufficient evidence to pursue charges. Bryce admitted to his parents that things got physical but claimed I'd come onto him and he'd misread signals. His exact words, according to Owen. The weeks after were hell. I couldn't sleep without lights on. I jumped at footsteps. I stopped going to Owen's family functions, which his mother called creating division. I started therapy twice a week. Panic attacks in grocery stores when someone walked too close behind me. Owen was patient. Protective. But I could see the strain. His family wanted this to disappear. Bryce sent one text, "Sorry if I made you uncomfortable. I was drunk. Won't happen again." If. Uncomfortable. Like he'd told a bad joke. I didn't respond. They wanted me to accept that apology and move on. He's changed, Owen's mother told him. He's in therapy now. Can't we all heal together? Heal together meant sitting across from him at Christmas. Smiling at Easter. Pretending I didn't know exactly how his hand felt covering my mouth. I refused every invitation. 6 months went by. Therapy helped. The panic attacks lessened. Owen and I found our rhythm again. I thought maybe distance would be enough. Then, yesterday morning, Owen's mother texted me directly. Thanksgiving is at our house this year. 4 p.m. Bryce will be there. It's been long enough. We need to move forward as a family. I stared at that message for 20 minutes. Owen found me in the kitchen, phone in hand, jaw clenched. "What is it?" he asked. I turned the screen toward him. That's when I realized they expected me to sit across from my attacker and pass the F-word cranberry sauce. Owen read the text twice. His face went from confused to disgusted in about 3 seconds. "Absolutely not. She thinks I'm going to just show up," I said. My voice was flat. Like the past 6 months didn't happen. Like therapy and nightmares and panic attacks were just me being dramatic. He typed something, deleted it, typed again. Finally sent, "She's not coming. And neither am I if Bryce is there." The response came in 40 seconds, "You're being manipulated. This is what she does, turns you against your family. We've been patient. Bryce has apologized. What more does she want?" What more did I want? I wanted to not wake up at 2 a.m. thinking I heard someone at my bedroom door. I wanted to not flinch when men stood too close in line at the coffee shop. I wanted basic F-word acknowledgement that what happened to me mattered. Instead I got, "It's been long enough." Owen called his mother. I listened to his side of the conversation, the parts where he said physical attack, trauma, "You're asking the impossible." His voice got louder. So did hers, tinny through the speaker. Eventually he hung up. "She said I'm choosing you over family." "You are," I said. "Is that a problem?" "No." He ran his hands through his hair. "But they're not going to drop this." He was right. Over the next week, I got texts from Owen's father, his aunt, 2 cousins. All variations of the same theme: family unity, forgiveness, moving forward. Bryce's younger sister Tabitha sent one that said, "I don't know what to say. This is really hard." At least she was honest. Owen's mother called him daily. Left voicemails. Sent emails with subject lines like "healing as a family" and "what Thanksgiving means to us." She never once called me directly again. 3 weeks before Thanksgiving, Owen came home from drinks with his dad looking wrecked. He told me Bryce is really struggling with the guilt, Owen said. Said I need to think about my brother's mental health. Asked if I wanted to be responsible for what happens if Bryce spirals. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. "He's weaponizing your guilt." "I know." Owen sat down hard on the couch. I told him I'm not coming to Thanksgiving. He said I'm destroying this family over something that happened one time when Bryce was drunk. One time. Like that made it better. "I need you to know something," I said. "I will never be in the same room as Bryce again. Not for holidays, not for weddings, not for funerals. If that means you lose your family, I'm sorry. But I can't do it." Owen looked at me for a long moment. "I'm not losing anything that matters." Thanksgiving came and went. We ordered Thai food and watched movies. Owen's phone buzzed all day, group texts, photo attachments of the family gathered around the table with one conspicuous empty chair. His mother's caption, "Missing our boys today." Our boys. Plural. Like Owen and Bryce were equally absent for equally valid reasons. Christmas was worse. More pressure. More guilt trips. Owen's sister Tabitha called him crying, saying their mother wouldn't stop talking about how I'd stolen him. On New Year's Eve, I overheard Owen on the phone with his mother. "She needs to get over it," his mother said. Loud enough I could hear from the next room. Owen said something I couldn't make out. His mother, "If she really loved you, she wouldn't make you choose." I walked into the room. Owen saw my face and wrapped up the call. That night, lying in bed, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about how Bryce's family had closed ranks. How easily they'd rewritten what happened. How my trauma was less important than their comfort. And I started wondering, had he done this before? The next morning, I opened Instagram. Searched Bryce and scrolled through his tagged photos until I found what I was looking for, an old picture from college, his arm around a girl with dark curly hair. The caption said "Happy 3-year anniversary" with a date from 2015. I clicked her profile. Still active. Name, Delilah Warren. Now living in Denver. I stared at the message box for 10 minutes before I typed, "Hi, I know this is random. I'm engaged to someone who knows Bryce. I was hoping I could ask you something about your experience dating him. If you're not comfortable, I completely understand. But if you are, it's important." I hit send before I could delete it. 3 days passed. I checked my DMs obsessively. Nothing. Then, on day 4, a notification. "What did he do to you?" I called her that afternoon. We talked for 2 hours. Delilah described a relationship where no was treated like a negotiation. Where boundaries were suggestions. where she'd wake up with him touching her and he'd act like she was overreacting when she said stop. I told myself it wasn't physical attack because we were dating, she said. Her voice was quiet. But looking back, I don't know. Something was wrong. Did he ever get physical? He grabbed my wrist once. Hard enough to leave bruises. When I confronted him, he said I was being dramatic. She paused. Why are you asking this? I told her. Not everything, but enough. When I finished, Delilah was silent for a long time. There was this woman at his company, she finally said. Yolanda. She worked in his division for like 6 months, then suddenly quit. There were rumors, but nobody talked about it directly. I always wondered. My heart was racing. Do you remember her last name? No. But I might be able to find her on LinkedIn. Why? I closed my eyes. Because I need to know if I'm the only one. Delilah said she'd look. We hung up. That night, I couldn't sleep, but this time, it wasn't fear keeping me awake. It was purpose. Delilah sent me a LinkedIn profile 2 days later. Yolanda Cruz. Project coordinator at a tech startup in Austin. Previously worked at Bryce's pharmaceutical company for exactly 7 months before jumping ship. I looked at her profile photo, professional smile, blazer, the kind of picture that says nothing about what someone's been through. I drafted a message 3 times before settling on something simple. Hi Yolanda, my name is Op. I'm reaching out because I experienced something concerning involving Bryce Henderson, who I believe you worked with. I understand if you don't want to discuss this, but if you're open to talking, I'd appreciate hearing about your experience. No pressure either way. She responded in 6 hours, I don't want to talk about this. I almost left it there. Almost. Instead I wrote back, I understand. For what it's worth, he physically attacked me 6 months ago at his parents' house. His family wants me to pretend it didn't happen. I'm trying to figure out if there's a pattern. That's all. My phone rang 20 minutes later. Austin area code. He raped me, Yolanda said. No greeting. No preamble. Company conference in Las Vegas, March 2019. Hotel room. I'd had 2 drinks at the networking event. He followed me to my floor, pushed his way into my room when I opened the door. I sat down. My hands were steady. Did you report it? To HR. They said it was a he said, she said situation. Suggested I might be more comfortable in a different role. I quit instead. Her voice cracked. I moved to Austin. Started over. Told myself I was better off just forgetting. You can't forget though. No. Silence. How did you find me? I explained about Delilah. About my physical attack. About the family pressure to move on. God, Yolanda said. They always want us to move on. Like trauma has an expiration date. We talked for an hour. She'd never told anyone the full story except her therapist. Hadn't dated anyone seriously since. Had nightmares about hotel hallways. Before we hung up, she said something that stuck with me. There's a bartender in Boulder. Imani. Works at that craft beer place on Pearl Street. She mentioned Bryce once, said something weird happened. I don't know details, but might be worth asking. I found Imani on Facebook through the bar's employee page. Messaged her. She called me that same night. I don't remember most of it, Imani said. Her voice was younger than I expected, early 20s maybe. It was a year ago. Slow Tuesday night. This guy, Bryce, was my last customer. Ordered 3 beers over 2 hours, tipped well, seemed normal. I had 1 shot with him when he insisted. After that, things get fuzzy. Fuzzy how? I woke up in my car in the parking lot at 4 a.m. My shirt was on backwards. My jeans were unbuttoned. I had this metallic taste in my mouth. She paused. I went to the ER. They found traces of Rohypnol in my blood. But I couldn't prove who substanced me. The police said without witnesses or security footage showing him doing it. Insufficient evidence. I'd heard that before. Did you tell anyone at work? My manager. He said maybe I just drank too much and blamed the customer. I quit 2 weeks later. 3 women. 3 different scenarios. Same predator. I created a group chat, just Delilah, Yolanda, and Imani. Explained what I was doing. Asked if they'd be willing to share their stories if it came to that. Yolanda, I'm in. Imani, whatever it takes. Delilah sent me another name 2 days later, Priya Kapoor. Dated Bryce for 3 months in 2020. Priya answered my DM immediately. He removed the comment without telling me. I didn't notice until after. When I confronted him, he laughed and said come on, it feels better without it. Like my consent was optional. 4 women. Through Priya, I found someone she knew from a support group, a woman who'd been at the same college party as Bryce in 2014. Through Imani's network, 2 more names surfaced. Women who'd had bad experiences with him at bars, at parties, in private. By the end of January, I had 8 women. 8 stories spanning 7 years. Same pattern: alcohol, isolation, ignored boundaries, physical force. Covering mouths when they screamed. Dismissing no as negotiable. I told Owen. He sat at our kitchen table reading the timeline I'd built and looked sick. Jesus Christ. 8? That we know of. We need to go to the police. Not yet. I pulled up the website I'd been researching. We need a lawyer first. Someone who specializes in this. Who can help us coordinate so the police take it seriously. I'd found her 2 days earlier, attorney Lorraine Gomez. 20 years of experience in S-word abuse cases. Tough reputation. High success rate. I sent her an email with a brief summary. She responded in 4 hours asking for a consultation call. The call was scheduled for the next afternoon. All 8 of us on video conference, plus Owen for support. Attorney Gomez's face was calm as we each shared our stories. She took notes. Asked clarifying questions. When we finished, she leaned back in her chair. Here's what I'm seeing. 8 victims, clear pattern of predatory behavior, multiple jurisdictions. Some cases have corroborating evidence, hotel surveillance, toxicology reports, text messages. Others are testimony-based. She looked at each of us through the screen. With this many victims showing consistent tactics over multiple years, we have a strong case. But you need to understand something. She paused. This is going to get ugly. His family will fight back. They'll try to discredit you. They'll hire expensive lawyers. You'll be dragged through depositions, cross-examinations, invasive questions about your personal lives. Are you prepared for that? Yolanda spoke first. He took enough from me. I'm not letting him take my voice too. Imani, I'm ready. One by one, they all agreed. Attorney Gomez looked at me last. You'll be the lead complainant since your physical attack is most recent and has the best chance of prosecution within statute of limitations. His family already knows you're willing to stand up to them. They'll come at you hardest. I thought about Owen's mother. The text messages. The guilt trips. The casual cruelty of expecting me to smile and pass the cranberry sauce. I looked at the other women on the screen. We'd all been silenced once. Let them try, I said. Attorney Gomez nodded. Then let's build the case. I'll need formal statements from each of you, any documentation you have, witness names. We'll file coordinated police reports and push for prosecution. This won't be fast, but if we do it right. My phone buzzed. Owen's mother calling. I ignored it. She left a voicemail. After the call ended, I listened to it on speaker so Owen could hear. I know what you're doing, her voice said. Cold. Clipped. Delilah called Bryce asking questions. You're building some kind of case against him. I want you to know that if you pursue this, you will destroy this family. Owen will never forgive you. You need to stop this now before you regret it. Owen's jaw clenched. She knew. She knew other women existed and she still wanted you to sit across from him at Thanksgiving. I deleted the voicemail. Looked at him. I'm not stopping. Good, he said. I forwarded all my documentation to Attorney Gomez that night. Statements from 8 women. Timeline spanning 2014 to present. Evidence of pattern and predatory behavior. She reviewed everything over the next week. Then she sent one message. We're ready. I'm filing police reports tomorrow in each relevant jurisdiction. Boulder PD will take lead on your case. Expect them to contact you for formal statement within 48 hours. Once this starts, there's no going back. I stared at that message. Owen found me in the kitchen, phone in my hand. What is it? He asked. I turned the screen toward him. It's happening, I said. The next morning, 2 detectives showed up at Bryce's parents' house with a warrant for questioning. Detective Ruiz called me that afternoon. We've taken Mr. Henderson in for questioning regarding your physical attack and 7 additional complaints filed across multiple jurisdictions. He's lawyered up, which is his right, but I want you to know we're taking this seriously. His voice was steady. Professional. The kind of calm that comes from seeing too much. What happens now? I'll need your formal statement. All the details you can remember, timeline, what he said, what you said, physical evidence. Then I'll interview the other complainants and start building the case. Over the next 2 weeks, Detective Ruiz talked to all 8 of us. I spent 3 hours in an interview room going through every detail of that night. What I wore. What Bryce said. The exact position he had me pinned. How his mother knocked and walked away. It felt like reliving it in slow motion. But Ruiz was thorough. He tracked down the hotel where Yolanda was physically attacked, pulled surveillance footage from March 2019. Grainy but clear enough, Bryce following Yolanda off the elevator, standing outside her door, pushing in when she opened it. Leaving 45 minutes later. The bartender who worked with Imani remembered Bryce. Remembered him insisting Imani take a shot with him. Confirmed Bryce was the last person in the bar before she woke up in her car. Delilah provided old journal entries describing incidents where Bryce ignored her saying no. Priya had text messages, Bryce admitting he'd removed the condom. Sorry, got carried away. You're on the pill anyway, right? The pieces fit together. Different women, different cities, same tactics. Owen's family found out fast. His father called him at work, screaming loud enough I could hear it through the phone. Your fiancée is trying to destroy your brother's life. Do you know what she's done? Police showed up at our house. Owen came home looking drained. They want me to convince you to drop the charges. There are no charges yet. Just an investigation. They don't see a difference. He sat down, rubbed his face. My mother said you're a vindictive liar who's manipulated 7 other women into making false accusations for attention. I felt nothing. Not anger. Not hurt. Just cold clarity. Do you believe that? No. He looked at me. But they do. And they're going to make this hell for you. They tried. Blocked numbers calling at 2 a.m. Emails from Owen's cousins telling me I was going to hell. Someone created a fake social media profile using my photo, posting that I was lying about physical attack for money. I reported it, got it taken down, but the damage spread. Owen's younger sister Tabitha was the only one who reached out privately. I don't know all the details, but I believe you. I'm sorry I didn't say something sooner. I was scared. At least someone in that family had a conscience. 6 weeks after the initial reports, Detective Ruiz called again. The DA's office has reviewed the case. They're moving forward with charges, 6 counts of S-word abuse, 2 counts of attempted rape. Arraignment is scheduled for next month. I exhaled. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. His family hired a hell of a lawyer. This is going to be a fight. Bryce's attorney was exactly what I expected, expensive suit, shark eyes, reputation for destroying witnesses on cross-examination. His name was Winters. He issued a statement calling the charges a coordinated attack by unstable women seeking attention and financial gain. None of us were seeking money. We wanted justice. But the attacks escalated. Bryce started texting me from burner numbers. The messages ranged from threatening to pathetic. You're ruining my life over nothing. I have a daughter now. You're taking her father away. I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of person you really are. I screenshotted everything. Sent it to Attorney Gomez. She filed for a restraining order. The judge granted it immediately. Bryce violated it 3 days later. I was leaving my office when I saw him in the parking lot, leaning against a car 2 spaces from mine. Just standing there. Watching. I turned around, walked back inside, called 911. Security escorted him off the property. Police charged him with violating the restraining order. His bail got revoked. He spent 2 nights in county jail before his parents posted the increased bond. The DA set a trial date, 3 months away. I thought things would calm down after Bryce got arrested for the violation. I was wrong. 2 weeks before trial, I came home to find an envelope wedged in my apartment door. No return address. No postage. Hand delivered. Owen was inside making dinner. I stood in the hallway and opened it. Inside were printed photos. 8 of them. Me leaving therapy on Tuesday. Me at the grocery store on Thursday. Me walking to my car after work. Me at the coffee shop near my apartment. All taken from a distance with a zoom lens. All from the past week. Someone had been following me. Owen found me standing frozen in the doorway, photos in my hand. What is it? I showed him. His face went white, then red. He's trying to scare you. I looked at the photos again. Whoever took these had been close. Had known my routine. Had watched me for days without me noticing. It's not working, I said. My voice was steady. If anything, he just gave us more evidence. Owen called Detective Ruiz. I filed another report. They couldn't prove Bryce took the photos, he'd been careful not to be seen, but it went into the case file. That night, I slept with a bat next to my bed. And I started counting down the days until trial. The story broke 3 days before trial. Local pharmaceutical representative faces multiple S-word abuse charges ran in the Boulder Daily Camera. Then Denver stations picked it up. By that evening, Bryce's face was on the 6 o'clock news. Owen's phone exploded. Family members demanding he make me stop. As if I controlled the media. As if I'd asked for any of this to be public. His mother left a voicemail, "You're destroying him. I hope you can live with yourself." I could. Easily. The courthouse filled fast on the first day. Bryce's parents sat front row on his side, along with aunts, uncles, cousins, a show of family solidarity. My side had Owen, my parents, my two best friends from college, and Tabitha. She'd flown in from Phoenix, sitting with us despite the glares from her own family. The other 7 women sat scattered throughout, some with partners, some alone. We'd agreed not to sit together. Didn't want to give the defense ammunition about coordination. Jury selection took 2 days. The prosecutor, a sharp woman named W, asked careful questions about bias regarding S-word abuse cases. Defense attorney Winters focused on whether jurors could separate emotion from facts. On day 3, opening statements. W laid it out cleanly: 8 women. 7 years. 1 pattern. The defendant is a serial predator who relied on alcohol, isolation, and physical force. Who dismissed consent as optional. Who counted on shame and silence to protect him. Winters countered: 8 women who conveniently coordinated their stories after the first accusation. Reasonable doubt exists in every one of these cases. No physical evidence in several. No witnesses. Just testimony from women who've had months to align their narratives. Then W called me to the stand. I'd practiced this with attorney Gomez. Breathe. Make eye contact with the jury. Tell the truth. W walked me through that night. What time I went upstairs. Why. What Bryce said. What he did. How his hand fell over my mouth. How I got away. His mother's knock. The aftermath. I didn't cry. Didn't falter. Just stated facts. Then Winters stood up for cross-examination. Ms. Opp, you'd been drinking that night, correct? 2 glasses of wine over 3 hours. But you were drinking. Yes. And you went upstairs alone to a bedroom. To get my phone charger. But Bryce didn't know that, did he? From his perspective, an attractive woman went upstairs alone at a party. W objected. Judge sustained. Winters tried another angle. You stayed engaged to his brother after this alleged physical attack. I stayed engaged to Owen. Not his family. But you've been to family events since. Christmas. Easter. No, I haven't. I refused every invitation for 6 months. Yet you reached out to other women. Contacted them specifically about Bryce. Built this case. I wanted to know if I was the only one. I looked at the jury. Turns out I wasn't. That's not coordination. That's pattern recognition. He tried to shake me for 20 more minutes. I held steady. Yolanda testified next. Broke down describing the hotel room, but got through it. The surveillance footage played on the courtroom monitors, grainy but damning. Bryce following her. Pushing into her room. Imani brought her hospital records. Toxicology report from that night showing Rohypnol in her system. I woke up in my car not knowing how I got there. My clothes were wrong. Priya's text messages got entered as evidence. Bryce admitting he'd removed the condom without consent. Sorry, got carried away. Each woman told her story. Each one added another piece. By day 5, the pattern was undeniable. Then Bryce took the stand. Winters walked him through his version. All encounters were consensual. I'd misinterpreted his intentions. The other women were jumping on a bandwagon for attention or money. Why would 8 women lie? W asked on cross-examination. I don't know. Revenge? Attention? Ask them. You texted the defendant after your encounter saying sorry, got carried away. Those are your words, correct? Priya's text appeared on screen. Bryce hesitated. That was just. I was being polite. Polite about what? I thought she seemed upset. About you removing the condom without her consent? I didn't, he caught himself. It was a misunderstanding. W walked him through contradictions. Timeline inconsistencies. The restraining order violation. The threatening texts from burner numbers. By the time she finished, Bryce looked rattled. Closing arguments came on day 8. W stood before the jury, 8 women. 7 years. 1 pattern. The defendant is a predator who relied on shame and silence. Today, that silence ends. These women deserve justice. Give it to them. Winters, reasonable doubt. Coordinated effort. Character assassination. Don't let emotion override facts. The jury got the case at 3 p.m. We waited in a conference room down the hall. Owen held my hand. The other women sat with their families, partners, support people. Tabitha brought coffee. Day 1 of deliberations, nothing. Day 2, still nothing. I tried not to read into it. Longer deliberations could mean anything. On the afternoon of day 2, my phone buzzed. Attorney Gomez, jury has a verdict. Heading back in 20 minutes. I stood up. Everyone looked at me. They have a verdict, I said. Owen squeezed my hand. Yolanda grabbed Imani's arm. Priya closed her eyes. We filed back into the courtroom. Bryce sat at the defense table between his lawyers, face blank. His parents in their same seats, holding hands. The jury filed in. I watched their faces. Tried to read something. Anything. The judge looked at the foreperson. Has the jury reached a verdict? We have, Your Honor. The bailiff took the verdict form to the judge. She read it, showed no reaction, handed it back. The defendant will rise. Bryce stood. His lawyer's hand on his shoulder. I stopped breathing. The foreperson was a woman in her 50s. Teacher, based on what I remembered from jury selection. She cleared her throat. On count 1, S-word abuse, we find the defendant guilty. Bryce's mother made a sound like she'd been punched. On count 2, S-word abuse, we find the defendant guilty. His father's face turned red. On count 3, S-word abuse, we find the defendant guilty. The foreperson kept reading. Guilty. 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 6 counts of S-word abuse. 2 counts of attempted rape. All guilty. Bryce's face drained of color. His lawyer gripped his arm. Behind me, I heard Yolanda crying. Imani whispered, "Oh my God," over and over. Owen's hand tightened around mine. I felt steady. Not triumphant. Not vindicated. Just steady. Like I'd been holding my breath for 9 months and could finally exhale. Bryce's mother was sobbing. His father stood up, face twisted with rage, and stormed out. Tabitha sat frozen, tears running down her face. The judge set sentencing for 6 weeks out. Bryce was remanded immediately, bail revoked. I watched 2 officers handcuff him. Watched him look back at his mother one last time before they led him away. We left through a side exit to avoid the media clustered on the courthouse steps. The 8 of us stood in the parking lot, not quite knowing what to say. Priya spoke first. We did it. You did it, Yolanda said, looking at me. You started this. We all did it, I said. Every single one of us. Imani hugged me. Then Priya. Then all of them, one by one. Sentencing day came 6 weeks later. The judge allowed victim impact statements. Each woman who wanted to speak got 5 minutes. Yolanda went first. Talked about quitting her job, moving cities, years of therapy. You didn't just physical attack my body. You tried to erase my voice. Imani described waking up in her car, not knowing what happened. I still can't drink anything I didn't pour myself. You took my sense of safety. Priya. Delilah. The others. Each story a variation on the same theme: violation, silence, survival. I went last. I looked at Bryce. He stared at the table. You didn't just hurt my body, I said. You tried to silence my voice. Your family expected me to smile and pretend. To sit across from you at Thanksgiving and pass the salt like nothing happened. I chose truth instead. And because of that choice, you won't hurt anyone else. I sat down. The judge reviewed the case. Multiple victims. Pattern of predatory behavior. Lack of remorse. Violation of restraining order. Mr. Henderson, you've shown a consistent disregard for consent and a pattern of targeting vulnerable women. This court finds you to be a danger to the community. Sentence: 15 years. Mandatory registration as a S-word offender upon release. No eligibility for early parole. Bryce's mother screamed. His lawyer requested an appeal. The judge denied the motion. I walked out of that courtroom and didn't look back. Owen's parents never apologized. Never reached out. They cut Owen off completely, blocked numbers, returned his letters unopened. Extended family split. Some reached out privately months later, saying they hadn't known the full story. Others chose sides and stayed there. Tabitha maintained contact. Flew out for our wedding the following year. Stood next to Owen's groomsmen because she refused to abandon her brother for choosing the truth. Owen proposed properly 2 months after the sentencing. We were cooking dinner, nothing special, and he just said, "You're the strongest person I know." Let's build our own family. I said yes. The 8 of us stayed in touch. Created a private group chat that evolved into real friendship. Yolanda started a non-profit helping workplace physically attack survivors navigate HR and legal systems. Imani became an advocate for bar safety protocols. Priya went back to school for social work. We met up twice a year. Not to relive trauma but to celebrate survival. I continued therapy. Still have hard days. Still flinch sometimes when someone stands too close. But the panic attacks are rare now. The nightmare's mostly gone. Last Thanksgiving, Owen and I hosted what we called Friendsgiving. 20 people crammed into our apartment, chosen family, not blood. The other survivors came. Tabitha flew in from Phoenix. Real friends who'd stood by us through everything. Someone asked how I was doing. I'm good, I said. Actually good. Not pretending anymore. We toasted to courage. To truth. To survival. Owen's mother sent one final text 6 months ago. I hope you're happy. You destroyed this family. I deleted it without responding. Because here's the thing, I didn't destroy anything. I just refused to be the mortar holding together a foundation built on silence. They wanted me to move on. To forget. To let it go for the sake of family harmony and holiday photos. Instead, I moved forward, straight through the lies, the minimization, the excuses. Bryce is in prison. He won't be sitting at anyone's Thanksgiving table. Won't be following women upstairs at parties. Won't be covering anyone's mouth when they scream. And me? I'm free. Not because I got revenge. Because I chose justice. I chose to believe myself when his family wouldn't. I chose to find other women instead of staying silent. I chose truth over comfortable lies. 8 women. 7 years. 1 pattern. 1 verdict. They wanted me to smile and pass the cranberry sauce. I chose to testify instead. And I'd make the same choice every single time. Final update, 2 years later. I don't post much anymore, but some of you messaged asking for an update. Bryce is still in prison. No successful appeals. 12 more years on his sentence. Owen and I are good. Really good. We bought a house last year. His relationship with Tabitha is stronger than ever. The rest of his family? Still silent. Still convinced I ruined their lives by refusing to be silent about mine. The other women are thriving. Yolanda's nonprofit helped 46 survivors last year. Imani's working with state legislators on bar safety laws. We text almost daily. Someone asked if I regret how everything went down. If I wish I'd handled it differently. No. Not for a second. They wanted compliance. I gave them consequences. They wanted silence. I gave them testimony. They wanted me to pretend. I chose to remember. And that's the end of it. I'm not haunted anymore. I'm just living. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you really like our videos, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.